Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Ms. Kiff has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing. For the entirety of this year, I've attempted to separate myself from him and not talk about him at all, and not talk about this issue, and just not make it a public thing. I always tried my best to keep this to myself, but like I said, I feel like it's gone to the point, which I'll explain later, that I feel like it just has to be done. And I have always believed in not condemning people or starting drama online. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be asking, why am I doing this and why now? And I would like to explain that before I get started so that people understand what prompted me to do this today, and that it's not just on a whim or something like that. Okay, so like I said, I took a lot of notes, so forgive me if I just end up reading off my notes. The first and probably most severe reason is that one of the rules that I set for myself a long time ago about withholding this information was that if I ever felt like somebody else was in danger or being hurt, I would then make myself speak about it. And 2 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago now, I was informed by 3 separate people, one of whom was present for said incident, that he had done something similar to something that he had done to me, and to someone in LA at the end of September. And this person is not a streamer or content creator, but obviously that does not matter. And because of this, I cannot in good conscience sit here knowing that I know critical information about someone that almost no one else does and not say anything. I think that most issues and dramas should stay private and off the internet, and I still hold that belief to this day, and I will hold that belief going forward. However, there are certain things that cross the line, and I say that the line has been crossed too many times to be count.
A lot.
There's a point where I believe that people deserve to know. I think that at a certain point, if you know a lot of things about someone and you don't say anything to look out for others, it's wrong. It's wrong to keep it to yourself. I don't want what happened to me or what has happened to other people because of him to happen to other people. And I don't believe he will ever stop behaving the way he does. But regardless, like I said, one of the main reasons I decided to do this stream is to come out about all of this because I can't hold on to it any longer because it feels wrong to do so. And an honorable mention reason for why I'm doing this is that for a while, he has been indirectly threatening me through my friends and people that I work with. They've informed me that he said that if I ever talked about anything he did, he would try to create a smear campaign against me in retaliation. I was told that he even approached other streamers who were close with us back when we lived together, asking them if they would join with him, and they all refused. At TwitchCon, he approached one of my employees, threatening them and saying if I ever talked about him, he would destroy me.
Yep.
Multiple people have told me that his plan was to claim that I kill animals and that I killed my own rabbits, since I had several of my rabbits pass away over the course of 3 years while I lived with him. I'm sure he's probably listening now, and it's probably going to come as quite a shock to him that this information made its way back to me and that I've known for months. But if you try to threaten me to stay quiet, especially using my poor dead animals, I'm not going to stay quiet.
It's nuts.
Okay. So now that I've explained all the reasons why this took so long and why I made the decision to do this stream, I have a few more things I would like to get out of the way before I start talking about all of this.
It's not about me.
The way that I'm going to do this today is I'm going to run through everything from the beginning to the end to try to get across the story as accurately and fully as I can. And, hold on.
Wrong one.
Also,
Oh.
going to be showing a few screenshots
Oh.
validating what I'm saying. I have more things, but this is what I felt comfortable using today. And I will be running through those later.
Receipts, of course.
Another thing that I'd like to mention before I start is that during my statement, I'm going to be mentioning directly the names of about half a dozen other creators who were present for certain things. And I want to say that none of these people did anything wrong. I'm just saying that they were there, and I've asked all of them permission. They all said that it was fine to include their names, but I know this won't stop everyone, but I ask people, for the streamers that I mentioned, please don't go bothering them or asking them for more information. If there's something else that they want to say, they'll say it themselves, so there's no point to go pester them and bother them about it. There are also streamers who gave me permission to share things that they relayed to me privately, but asked me to redact their names, which I, of course, did. And the last thing that I want to make clear is that not every person that I interact with or that I'm friends with knew the extent of all of these things. And in fact, most of them didn't. And some of them didn't even know anything at all. I tried to keep things private with my close friends. But if anyone during the past year ever approached me asking questions, I didn't lie and I told them the truth. But yeah, I don't want there to be some kind of witch hunt like, oh, you know, you knew and this, no. A lot of people, you know, didn't know everything or didn't know anything. Okay. I think that's
I'll talk about my
all that I have to get out of the way.
in the context of
Start.
like things that she says after, but not right now.
So, this is public information. I initially moved in. Sorry. I'm still sick, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
This is all public, obviously this part. I moved in with him, I believe it was the end of 2021, because he offered. I was living alone at the time, and I was having stalker issues in Kansas, and I mean, you guys know like all the stuff that happened there. I ended up joining the org and everything. We did a lot of streams together. And, I mean, a lot of people already know this, but I'm just gonna come out and say it. We started dating. We were in a relationship starting January 2022, after I joined OTK. I'm not planning to go into too much detail about the start of the relationship because it honestly doesn't really matter at this point. It's irrelevant now. The only things that really matter that you guys need to know for the story are that it was, one, an extremely private relationship. It was even hidden from friends and people in
she
the
didn't
org,
tell
but
us.
I mean, obviously people all eventually
Yeah.
figured out they're not fucking stupid. And second, it was an extremely codependent relationship, which it's not the issue, but that's just, you know, making that clear for details. He initially portrayed himself to me as someone who was very nice to girls and wanted to help me feel safe from stalkers and wanted me to succeed as a teammate. And we grew very close over time, and I was very dependent on him for feelings of safety, social life, like my stream, my job, everything. So yeah, besides it being a very codependent relationship, the start of it was fine. I saw a lot of people mentioning this. They thought this was what I was going to talk about. It's not a secret. I think everyone who paid attention knew that he was very controlling over what I wore, to a degree, who I was friends with, and even when I would stream.
Yep.
So, when it was definitely slow over time that bad things started happening. At the start, it would be things like, for example, he would throw bottles, like plastic bottles with liquid in it, not like glass bottles, at me, despite me telling him like I didn't like it and it scared me and I bruised very easily. He would throw his phone at me. I would tell him, you know, it scared me, I don't like it. And one time it even hit me in the eye, which caused me to get a black eye, but he always, you know, was like, oh, it's an accident. And I was like, oh yeah, it's an accident. Like, you know, of course I'm not gonna think that, you know, he's, yeah, I just,
This is the beginning, by the way.
at the time, I just kind of was, you know, I just brushed it off. And looking back now, I feel like that was kind of the start of him testing my boundaries, if that makes sense. So that was already kind of starting to show signs within the first 6 months of me and him being close. And then, again, a very public situation. The end of 2022, the cover-up allegations happened. I mean, yeah, like I said, all that's public. You can find all that, see like what I said during that, everything. After that happened, his behavior started getting a lot worse, which, I mean, I suppose it makes sense. You know, he was very stressed. A lot of stuff was happening, but the bad behavior was ramping up, and I feel like it's so apparent if, like, you know, you go back and watch anything from that time. I tried so hard to help him and be there for him because I really believed in him, and I wanted him to, you know, get better and get back on his feet and be the person that, you know, I always believed that he was. But that unfortunately did not really happen. For a long time, I think about 1.5 years from when that all happened, it was kind of like slow things getting worse. But I mean, honestly, I'm not even gonna bother going into the details of all of that because there's just too much to cover, and
Yeah.
it's honestly kind of not really relevant to the rest of what I'm saying because the rest of what I want to say is a lot worse.
It's a 24-hour stream.
There was a point where things really took a turn for the worst. Like, it felt like, you know, like a very delicate branch just kind of snapped. So, and again, a lot of people are like vaguely aware of this, but I'll explain it for people who aren't, you know, chronically tapped into all that stuff. So for a long time,
This is after Maya.
after
It's after Maya.
the like cover-up allegations happened, and he was like starting to kind of struggle on his stream.
Yeah.
He never wanted to stream at the same time as me. Like, we really avoided it. And to me at the time, it made sense because, you know, I was like, well, of course, like, you know, we share a lot of community members. If
Seems
we're live at
reasonable.
separate times, we're both going to perform better. You know, it makes sense. But, yeah, we were never really live doing the same thing at the same time for a long time, with the exception of, like, things like events or sponsors or, like, you know, just special things. For a very long time, and a lot of you guys probably noticed that I would only usually stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. That was because of him. And now I stream whenever I want, but the first time that we ever streamed at the same time was for the 2024 Rust Kingdoms event on
Jesus
Twitch.
Christ.
We were sharing drops.
This is so ridiculous.
It was the first time in a very long time that we were both going to be live at the same time, doing the same thing.
People even
Basically,
saw
you know,
this.
You're probably like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? But it'll make sense in a bit. So I'm live.
Sharing drops.
He's
Drops for
live.
the
We're
Rust
both
event.
Streaming, and like I said, you can go find all of this. This is public.
It's
There
online.
are clips of
Yeah.
this. We're both streaming the Rust event, and I thought it was going really well. I thought everyone was having fun. I was like, oh, this is great. Everyone's, you know, doing the same thing at the same time. We're all hanging out. You know, we're gonna have fun. Like, I was really, really excited. And then I start seeing in my chat people start saying unofficial Ms. Raid, and I'm like, what does that mean? And then I check my Discord messages, and he's messaging me. He's saying like, Emmy, you know, I'm gonna kill myself. I waited, or I'm gonna KMS. I waited so long for this, etc. Basically he was upset because I had higher viewership than him. That's literally it. I had higher viewership than him. And like I said, this is during an event, so there were drops. Like, everyone knows when there's drops, like, it's not even fucking real, but yeah. He starts messaging me, he's really upset. I tried to tell him, I was like, bro, you should come back and play. Everyone's having fun, everyone's like wondering where you are. But yeah, he ended his stream. And then I'm still live, you know, trying to act like nothing's wrong. And in that house,
Messaging her
I
while
had a
she's
glass
live.
door, so I could like see this was happening. He was walking behind me, making sure that I knew he was there. And by the way, so there were many ways out of that house if he wanted to leave the house that were closer to his stream room. He intentionally chose the door that was right by my room.
Actually, the most inconvenient door of all the
I feel like
doors that
that's
he could have
pretty
left.
apparent, at least to me. He starts walking behind my stream and slamming the door so loud that my noise gate can pick it up. So even people on my stream are able to hear this is happening. And he slams it so hard and so many times that the front door literally broke. The lock did not work anymore. It didn't work for months, and it would just make this horrible sound that I would have to hear like every fucking day. But anyway, so I hear him back there doing this, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
There's clips of
So I
this,
tell
by
my
the way.
stream, I'm like, hey, guys, I'll be right back. I get up and I go talk to him, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, Emmy, like, I hate all of you guys. Like, all you guys do is just take from me, and like, I'm just done. Like, I'm just done. And I was like, is this like really happening because of rush drops? And he was like, I don't know what else to do. He was like going off on me, like basically saying that he hated me. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do now. And he was like, go finish your stream so that people don't know anything's wrong. And
That's what matters.
I stop in the bathroom outside
Of
my
course.
stream room, and I'm like, you know, checking my makeup, trying to make sure people can't tell that I was like crying. And I'm only in there for like 30 seconds, and he comes and like looms in the doorway. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm just checking my makeup. So I go back and I stream for a couple hours, to finish the stream, do my best to just like, you know, carry on the show basically. And yeah, after that, like I said, was
Sad
when
expecting
things started
drama
to get
shit?
really
Yeah.
fucking bad. It was like something just snapped. For the rest of the week, he streamed the Rust event. He got all the drop viewers.
She didn't
I'm
stream
sure
at all.
he was very happy. I mean, good for him.
Wow.
And during that time, I obviously was like thinking and processing a lot of what happened. But I mean, it was a lot because this person was at the time like kind of it was like my partner and my best friend and like the only person that like I really talked to ever, or like at least off stream. So I mean, it was a lot. But the very next stream, I went live about a week after that, and I announced that I was planning to move because I knew that I would have to move.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I have to go live and say this so that, you know, kind of force myself to commit to it, right? Does that make sense? Obviously, I didn't move out right away, but after like all of that Rust stuff happened was when the other domestic abuse stuff really started. He would destroy furniture in front of me. He would throw things in front of me and near me. Destroy walls. Again, you can go see this in some of his VODs in his bedroom, the holes in the wall. There would be times where he was upset at me, and I would go to my stream room and literally lock myself in to get away from him, and he would be banging on the door and screaming at me. And at the time, he also would more often do things like going, like if we were driving in the car together, he would be going like
Super fast.
150 miles an hour, and like one time he even said like, well, now we're both gonna die, like threatening to kill both of us. And this wasn't like even necessarily because of me or like because of something I did a lot of the time. Like one of the times that it happened, it was because we were just getting food and he was on his phone and he saw that Mr. Beast had put out a video, and Mr. Beast had invited another streamer, and he was like, oh, Mr. Beast invited this guy to his video, not me. And I was like, oh, well, you know, like, huh, yeah, I guess so. Which led to him
Almost
going
killing
150
them.
miles per hour in the car.
Almost
and talking
killing
about
them.
Killing himself while doing it.
Over a Mr. Beast video.
Then at home, other things would happen, like I'd be trying to sleep and he would scream at me and say that it was all my fault that he felt insecure. There was a time that I walked into a room that he was in, and as soon as he saw me there, he threw his phone at the dresser and started yelling because I had posted a YouTube video within the same couple of days as him, and mine was doing better. So basically, I felt like I was kind of stuck
It's
in a loop
It's so
where I
sad,
felt like
bro.
I had to constantly
It's so sad.
perform and like prove
it's so
my
sad.
value to not be thrown away. But at the same time, if I ever performed too well, I was gonna be punished for it.
Yeah.
And it just felt like a very rough situation to be stuck in because, I mean, streaming is my hobby and my job. Like, it's a huge part of my life.
All of
Even
our friends are
before,
attached to it too.
You know, I met him and became like a larger creator. And I remember thinking all the time how it felt like he hated me, but he still wanted me around for his channel and like his thumbnails and everything.
Yeah.
And this is still before I moved out. There was a time where it was the tension in the house was so unbearable that I would sneak out and I would sneak into Esfan's house using my code. And Esfan didn't know why I was doing this. He saw me a couple times. I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna go take a nap in your guest room. He'd be like, yeah, that's fine. I would sneak into Esfan's house just to have some time
Yep.
of like peace and quiet. But eventually, he figured out where I was going, and he would go over to Esfan's house to keep telling me off.
No escape.
And there was a time that he did it, and I was laying in the guest room bed, and one of the roommates in that house had come to see like why I was crying, and they were standing in the corner, and Miz, he came in, and he was very physically aggressive. He was like, Emmy, like, what are you doing? Like, angry.
She
And
wrote-
then as soon
yeah.
as he turned and saw
This
this
is-
other
Like, this
person
is really
standing
serious.
there,
Yeah.
he instantly like deflated and changed his tone. He was like, oh, Emmy, I was wondering where you were. Like, are you coming home? And that roommate like later asked me about it, and they were like, what the fuck was that? Like, are you okay? And I was just like, oh, it's nothing, because
Unfortunately,
I felt like
happened a lot.
a lot of the reason that I didn't tell the people around me was because I felt like no one would understand, or even if they understood, it would just be a burden to them because all of our streams and social circles and communities are so intertwined. I was like, maybe it's just better for me to deal with this and like hope things get better, basically.
Yep.
I honestly don't even remember what the final straw was that I finally was like, okay, it's time to go. Like, I prepared the house that I lived in before this one, like, pretty much immediately after the, like, breaking the front door thing happened, but I was still, like, scared and unsure. So I don't remember what the final straw was, but I remember the day I took Cheddar to the house, because he just randomly started, like, screaming at Cheddar. He was like, get that fucking cat out of my house. So I just
Mad at
grabbed Cheddar
YouTube
and put him in my
views, mad at
car.
Mr. Beast, mad at
Grabbed
the
his little
cat.
box and took him there, and I just left him there and never took him back to that house.
Hey, yo,
And,
fuck Cheddar.
I
All
think,
my
like,
homies
within
hate
several
Cheddar.
days after that was when I finally moved out.
Who
It was
yells
on
at a
very
cat?
Short notice. Like I said, I don't even remember what the final straw was because so many things happened, but there was a time when I just knew. I called some movers. I said, hey, can you come tomorrow? And they were like, yeah, and then I literally moved the next day. Moving out into the last house that I lived in was a huge step mentally because, like I said, a big part of why I moved into the first house in Texas in the first place was because I felt like it was the safest option for me because,
the stalkers.
you know, I am
Yeah.
a girl where it's like kind of scary for me to be living alone. So it was very hard, and at the time, even though like all these other things had already happened, I was very hopeful that me and him could be cordial and like eventually like things would be fine, at least publicly, like for stream reasons, that, you know, everyone could just keep streaming like nothing had happened. And, you know, at the time I thought that would be the best thing to do, and I felt like
You put your best
if
foot
I,
forward, people
you know,
step on it.
separated myself from him without
That's what
explaining
happens.
anything, people that watched us wouldn't understand
Yeah.
and would attack me. I was
That's how it is.
yeah, I mean, it ended up happening anyway. So, but yeah. After I moved out, we, like I said, still kept in contact. I had hope that somehow things would get better. He would always beg for me to come back, and he would promise therapy and change and, like, even talk to other
Surely.
people and, like, kind of present, like, oh, I want to
Things are going to get better this
change. I
time.
want to be better for Emmy or
This
whatever,
time for
you know?
sure.
There was a short period in October where
This is last
we
year.
had broken up because, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter now. And when that happened, I honestly felt relieved because I was like, okay, finally, it's like on his terms. So that means he'll be satisfied and he'll be able to say it was his choice, and he'll leave me alone. Because whenever I would try to push for it, it just felt like I couldn't like really sever it, if that makes sense. But I mean, obviously, hence me doing this stream, that was not the end of it. A week after this breakup, he asked to come over to my house and talk for closure. He came to my house, and I was crying like crazy because the emotions were just very high because I was dealing with a lot of major shifts in my life as a result of me attempting to start to try to distance myself from him. So yeah, we were just talking and I was crying a lot. He started to try to comfort me by hugging me while I was sitting on the couch and holding me really close to him. And when this was happening, we hadn't talked in quite a while, and I'm usually very uncomfortable with being touched a lot by people that I'm not in a relationship with. But I let him hold me while I was crying. And he started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. I was still sobbing a lot. And then suddenly he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants. And I screamed. Yeah. And when I screamed, he jumped off me like a cat, like. And instead of apologizing or checking if I was okay, he said, "I feel weird now. I feel like I did something wrong. I have to go." And he immediately left my house while I was still crying without checking if I was okay or anything. And at the time, I was still making excuses for him, and I was still afraid of causing trouble for other streamers around us, or like, you know, making things weird for viewers. I know that probably sounds crazy, but like I just felt this pressure, like I had
This is
to
making me feel weird.
try to keep things together, if that makes sense.
Accommodating a psycho.
Yeah, I felt like I'd cause trouble for so many other people if I ever said anything bad about him, or if I caused rifts in our friend group or streamer group. I tried to stay on good terms with him and hold everything in, and also I still cared about him a lot, and I still at that point had hope that things would get better and that, you know, he would improve. And he'd also always hammer into me.
Have you guys known
how
somebody that this has happened to
he
before?
never physically abused me because he never hit me, and he would coach me and tell me to tell people or other streamers who were asking about it because they were concerned. He would say, tell them that I never hit you. Make sure that they know that I never hit you.
Very normal thing to coach somebody to say.
Around the
Super
same
normal.
time, this was during OnlyFans 2, so I guess like December-ish. He would often message me in the middle of my streams and berate me for things like playing the same class as him in WoW because he thought it would make people think that I was better than him.
So
And again, like I said earlier, I felt like I was stuck in a constant loop where I had to perform well to not be thrown away.
Yeah.
But if I performed too well, I was going to be punished. And I actually wanted to show some of those messages because obviously a lot of these things.
So stupid.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fully read these out
This was OnlyFans too.
because
The second
I
one,
honestly
I mean.
just don't want to read them out, but I feel like I want to show them to like kind of show what I'm saying.
Emmy is better. Emmy
I am
this.
planning to
I can't have anything,
probably
Emmy.
post the VOD of this somewhere, so if you know
You just take.
you want to read
Not
this later,
tank. Just that simple.
that's fine. I
You've
guess.
already played Warrior when I told you.
And again, this was
Now I'm
all
gonna get
happening
compared
while I was live.
nonstop.
You can literally go find the stream and see me trying to deal with this
Don't tank.
while I'm
there it
live in the
is.
middle of a dungeon
Don't dude
trying
me.
to just play the fucking game.
This is about World of Warcraft. Let me handle all the hate.
Oh fuck, I think I...
You just have fun. Such a serious situation. I feel like an asshole laughing, but this is so fucking ridiculous. It's insane, isn't it? Oh my god.
Tank Emmy, do it. Let me handle all the hate, the criticism. The you're worse than Emmys. The Emmy is so much better. The people saying you're better in every chat. The comparison
no
says nobody will ever be on my side.
He says
Let me
there's
deal
no
with it. You have
boundaries
fun.
with
I
you.
asked you not to become a tank. You didn't listen. And now it's the classic, what was I supposed to do? I'm not dealing with this. And like I said, you can go find the stream.
That's what he said.
But for context, I was playing Warrior in World of Warcraft in like
Mm-hmm.
a level 24 dungeon. It was like Silverpine. Like it was just like it wasn't even like
You
it was
can't
like
just
dog shit
tank
gameplay, to be
SFK.
honest.
You can't just tank SFK. You
Like,
can't just do that.
So, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you can,
Just pause it, read all
that
that shit
later, I
yourself.
suppose,
Yeah.
if, yeah, like I said before, shit, hold on. I was constantly trying so hard to compromise with him because I wanted to be cool and I wanted us to
Which
be
is
able to
nothing.
coexist in the same streaming sphere. But I felt like I could never win, and he hated my whole existence. Like ever since that one stream where I had like a little bit more viewers than him. And he would say that it was my fault that his stream was dying because most of his viewers liked me, and whenever he hit on another girl, they would be confused or not take it seriously because they knew that me and him were together privately. And he said if he would be able to hit on other girls and convince them that it was real, he would get his career back. That was like, started within the last couple of weeks that we spoke to each other. He started, saying terrible things to me about other streamers in Austin. In particular, one specific streamer who, I know there's a lot of people that know he has beef with certain streamers. It was not one of those streamers. It was someone who, to this day, has been nothing but nice to him. He would say horrible things about this person, like about them in their stream, and it was very hard to listen to. And just in general, he would say horrible things about other streamers in Austin, like, I quote, "I hate everyone here. You are all useless to me. You're worthless to me because it does nothing for my stream anymore to collab with any of you."
Oh.
And him saying that was the final straw for me. The day that he said that to me about other people was the first day that I
About
ever,
Austin
for
streamers?
the first time,
Yeah.
started to ignore his calls and messages. And because of that, he even threatened to come to my house if I didn't answer. But I did end up calling him back, and I spoke to him, and I basically told him that I felt like I could finally see things for what they were. And he started panicking, and he was super apologetic, and he was saying he didn't want to lose me, which wasn't the first time that he like did something like that and was like, you know, basically begging me not to leave. But that was definitely the most extreme time. And again, like I said, I always had the hope that things would be cordial, or that, you know,
And she really tried.
we could be fine
You can
with
see.
each other. So
She really
I
tried
agreed,
to
and
like.
we agreed we were gonna talk about all of that. We talked about it about a week later, and instead of apologizing for anything, he basically told me that he realized he needed to go to Japan and LA to get his viewership back up, and he was
Of course.
basically too young to focus on friendships and relationships. And it was I mean, despite everything, like I said, I still cared about him, so it was still hard. And I mean, it was like a mix of feelings, you know, like I was devastated, but I was also so relieved. But because of the past incidents during like other fights and times I would try to separate myself from him, past incidents during those times of him manipulating me into staying close with him and giving him more chances, sexually assaulting me, the abuse, and just him generally not being a very nice person. After that, I decided that the only solution and way for me to move forward, I made the hard decision, but I know now for sure the right one, was to finally completely cut contact with him.
Good call.
I knew it'd be very hard because our careers and our communities were so intertwined, but I knew that I had to do it and that there was no other choice. So
Yep.
I have not spoken to him since January of this year. It's been 10 months. But you think that's the end. It is unfortunately not. I haven't spoken to him since January of this year. It only took a couple of weeks, but soon the messages started. He has attempted to contact me over 40 times individually this year in individual
normal.
texts, Discord messages, Instagram DMs, and phone calls. And I'm just gonna show those.
40 times.
And at first, it started simple. Be confusing messages or like him expressing he was worried about things. Like, at first it wasn't anything weird.
It's just that you can go through and read all these yourself, but it's just... Bro's got issues. I mean, I've been down bad, but 40 times? That's a lot. That's a lot.
This is not someone who loves or cares about you.
He's trying to get her to be amicable and everything. It's crazy. Surely the 41st time. I'm not going to talk, by the way, about like anything about this beyond what she's going to talk about unless I'm getting mentioned. Just so you guys know. Just out of respect for her privacy. Obviously. I know a lot of you guys want to know more, but that's just what's going to happen. That's why I never said anything. 'Cause I knew this day would come.
This is only things that he sent to me. I can't document all the things that people told me that he was saying. And, it's just kind of a funny side note, I guess. I would like to highlight this message.
Which one?
Because,
Oh,
it doesn't really matter, but I ran it through
no!
a ChatGPT checker.
No!
And, all the highlights, like
The
I said, it
AI
doesn't really matter.
reader.
I just thought it was interesting.
Who knows, right? It's a mystery.
But, yeah, like I said at first, the messages were just simple things, like, him saying he was worried about things, or saying no one was talking to him, which I don't think was even true at the time. I think he was just saying that to try to guilt me into responding to him. I'm not sure about that, of course. This also extended to in-person interactions, because initially I made the mistake of thinking that I only had to cut him off through private communication, and, you know, we would be fine going to the same events and parties and such.
Big mistake.
I also had to start... Hold on, I'm still fucking sick. I made the mistake of thinking that I only had to cut him off through personal, private communication, but I also had to start avoiding going to the same parties or places I was worried he'd be in person. because this was after
The force
he came
and
back from
interaction.
his first
You know.
trip to Japan. There was a party that I attended several months after I first went into contact with him. I was aware that he would be there, and I thought it'd be fine. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. I thought I'll just let him have his space. I'll have my space. You know, it's not a
Yeah,
big
sure.
deal. We're adults, right? During this party, I felt like he was following me around and monitoring me, but I thought that I was just being paranoid. I was like, it's probably just in your head. I was hanging out with Nick and Catchy and a couple other friends. And at some point, Nick was like, it's too fucking loud down here. Let's go upstairs. No one's upstairs. Let's just go, you know, chill in a room.
I was not at
and,
this
like,
party.
Talk where it's not so loud.
Can you believe that?
And
Actually, I think
like,
you
okay.
probably can.
so they, as a group, went upstairs first without me, but it took me a bit longer to get up there because someone like stopped me and was talking to me. And I did feel like, I mean, he was like standing pretty close to that person. I felt like he was watching me, but again, I thought I was just being paranoid.
Mhm.
But I went upstairs. I was hanging out with Nick and Catchy and, you know, our other friends. And then about 30 minutes later, the room that we're in, the door opens. It's Miz. He opens the door, makes eye contact with me, goes, ooh, and then closes the door and leaves. And I was like,
See?
what the fuck?
Wow.
But again, I was still trying my best
Ooh.
to, you know, give
Oh.
the benefit of the doubt. Like, you know, maybe it's just
Oh.
like
Oh.
an awkward situation or something. But a couple months later, the person that he was hanging out with that night reached out to me privately and was apologizing. And I was like, why? And they're like, I just felt like I had to apologize to you because I felt so bad and so embarrassed of what was going on. Like, yes, he wanted to see what you were doing. He was saying, like, I want to go see what's upstairs, and he was checking every room. And then after he opened the room that you were in with Nick,
Come on.
he closed the door
What?
and started laughing.
Yeah.
And then he just wanted to talk about, you know, how you guys broke up for the next, like, however many hours of the night.
I wonder why.
So I was like, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Next.
That's good to know, I guess. The next story that I want to tell involves what happened to me, Valkyrie, and Cinna
Oh.
earlier this year when we were attacked at the Santa Monica Pier. Because that was obviously...
Remember that?
Hold on, let me close all these fucking texts. I don't want to look at them. They're still on my desktop.
Whispers from a demon.
Where was I? Yeah, so, yeah, it happened March 3rd of this year. A lot of people were talking about it, talking about how me, Ray, and Cinna were attacked. Which was not an issue. Like, we had no issue with that. Like, obviously,
Well-
it's big news. People are going to talk about it. It should be talked about. We had, like, no issues with anyone talking about it and covering it, and that included him. I was fine with that. He joined in on that whole thing of people going live to talk about it. And again, I'd like to remind people at this point, we were already a couple months into me being no contact with him, making it clear I didn't want anything to do with him. And so during this stream, he was covering what happened to me, Ray, and Cinna. He decided that he was going to tell more of my personal stalker stories that I've never personally talked about or shared publicly myself.
And I wonder why.
And one of these stories was one that, like, no one knew at all, and, like, it just felt so shitty because at the time that those things happened,
You never talk about this shit.
like, you know, all the people that lived in that area together, we all came together and we all kind of decided, and this was heavily
Not
pushed
to-
by him, we should never talk about this
Exactly.
because, you know, people are going to be weird. it puts Emmy in more danger and, it gives people ideas, so we're never going to talk about it. But, of course, as soon as there's some big drama that he's not involved in, and he finds a way to, bring up, oh, I was there for something that happened to Emmy,
He's trying
he
to.
does it.
You see what's going on?
He was on a stream.
I was
talking
trying to
about these
save her.
Personal
I was trying to
stories
help
of
her.
mine, and I caught wind of it. And by the way, it was also so frustrating not say anything at this time, because the way he told those stories, he kind of framed himself as like the hero.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I held the stalker at gunpoint. No. The only person who ever came into contact face to face with that stalker before the police came was Bonnie. Bonnie is the person who found that guy outside,
Fucking
went
Bonnie.
inside, told everyone, called the police. The police came. All Miz did was he stood far away from the front door, behind glass and metal, with a gun. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Still very scary, but why are you acting like if anyone deserves credit for that, it's Bonnie. Like, it's literally stolen valor. I'm so glad I finally get to say that, because she is the one who, kept everyone in those two houses safe, not him. Anyway, back to the original thing, the Ray and Cinna stuff. I was obviously panicking. I just had this horrible thing happen to me the night before. It was huge, public, millions of people seeing it. And then my crazy ex-boyfriend is going live talking about more of my personal stuff.
Without asking her.
And I'm crying, and Cinna and Ray are like, what's wrong? And I tell them, and I'm panicking. I'm I need to call so-and-so, I need to call so-and-so, I need to call so-and-so. These different people that I was they can contact him, because I did not want to contact him. So, Ray, Cinna, some of me and Miz's mutual business partners, and Asmongold were all messaging him to stop. And by the way,
I will elaborate on this later.
Asmongold told me that he tried to call
She's gonna
Miz
say
while
it.
he was talking, and it rang three times.
Two or
and
three
then
times.
hung up.
And then
Which
I hung.
means that he saw it.
That's
and
right.
He
Because I called him
wanted to be able to
twice.
keep talking
I tried to call him
because,
2 times.
Yeah.
One of them it rang
Anyway.
2 or 3 times. The other one it did
So,
10.
A little note.
I'm not
I
saying
don't
he didn't
know
see
exactly
it,
what,
but that's
the other
crazy,
people
right?
Said to him, but Ray and Cinna told me that they were messaging him, being bro, stop! What are you doing?
I finally did get in
why
contact
are
with
you
him and told him
doing
to
this?
stop.
And he
That's
was
why he went
messaging
offline
them
that day.
Who were also equally as traumatized as me, of course. They had gone through the same thing. Oh, what am I doing wrong? I'm letting people know what, girls go through.
You go back and see the VOD.
Was that your job?
Interrupted
well,
my fucking
anyway,
stream for this shit. For that
Yeah, that all
psycho.
happened a couple of months into me being no contact
Just
with
so we
him.
could, fucking
And,
virtue
he was
signal.
arguing with Ray and Cinna while they're trying to be
Well, I'm
"No,
trying to protect
stop,
them."
you're making it worse.
Fuck out of here.
He finished talking about my stuff and then reacted to Cinna and Ray's whole stream where they were crying, addressing their communities, made sure to react to that, and then immediately went offline. So yeah, that was a terrible weekend. I got threatened to be stabbed, and then the next day, my weird ex was going live trying to self-insert so that he could make sure to farm his own clips.
And viewers. To get viewers, by the way.
After that incident, his attempts to talk to me only ramped up, which I showed those texts. We went back to Japan, and during that trip, he was texting, calling me, trying to call me quite a lot, begging me to take him back. And at the same time, I heard that he was reaching out to quite a few other streamers who know both of us. And he was crying to them about how he wanted to get back together and how he thought someday we would reconnect and eventually get married. I think
Totally
I
normal.
don't think he even meant that, but I hope not. But I assume he did that with the hope that they would relay the messages back to me since I wasn't talking to him. And I mean, some of them did. I also had a couple
I was
other
not one of
streamers
those
report
people.
to me that he would obsessively watch my stream, and not in a like, oh, I wonder what Emmy's doing right now way, or like having my stream open. Like, he would be obsessively and attentively hate watching my stream, like watching my stream and just saying horrible things almost every time that I've been live this year. And they tell me that he would want to discuss how he believed I still wanted him.
Of course.
Interesting, considering I never replied. And he would ask other guys if they thought I had slept with anyone this year. They'd be like, I don't fucking know, man. And then they told me he would say stuff like, no, there's no way she's done that. She's not like that. And she's probably waiting for me. Just really fucking gross stuff like that. And a couple of streamers in LA also told me that he was telling people that me and him still talk all the time, but we simply weren't together anymore.
All about
because
appearances.
I was too mature, and I was not ready. I was too immature.
Emmy was too immature.
But
Of
yeah,
course.
you couldn't see from the messages I showed.
I mean, she didn't even break a
I'm not
hole in a
sure
wall.
if, like, I mean, people can go back and read them.
How can you be ready to be married if you're not ready to punch a
He
hole in
was
a wall?
begging to me to take him back for the majority of this year, which was 7 or 8 months total. And like I said, some of those messages were even, I believe, ChatGPT. Not that it really matters. It's just interesting.
Very
right?
interesting.
As of today, it's been about 2 months since he has attempted to contact me directly. I think because about 2 months ago was when he started kind of getting scared that I might have been like, you know, telling people things, which again, I wasn't going on my way to do it, but if anyone ever asked me, I wasn't going to lie to them. I mentioned this at the beginning before I started like fully telling the story. I heard from my friends, other streamers, and my employees that he had cooked up a plot that if I ever tried to talk about him, like about the abuse or anything else, he would try to go live and say that I killed my rabbits.
I have a story about this afterwards.
And I was told that he approached several streamers who are around us a lot
He didn't
when we
approach
lived
me.
together and asked if they would basically back him up, and they refused.
Never approach me.
Obviously, they're not insane.
Never talk to me
and-
about a single thing about this.
Even something happened this weekend at TwitchCon. One of my employees told me he went up to them and he threatened them, saying, if Emmy ever tries to talk about me, I will destroy her. Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
And within the same night, he also texted one of my best friends, and he would have known that I would have been with this girl. He texted her saying, hey, worried about her, hope she's okay. You know, right after he just said to my employee and other people that he was gonna try to destroy my life. Yeah, all in the same night. And, yeah, that was Saturday, so that pretty much leads us to today. I feel like it's clear I've spent the last year of my life cutting him off and building a new life with people that actually care about me.
Wow.
And doing my best to move on peacefully without causing any drama. I did not want to do this. A lot of other creators actually told me that after his other allegations in 2022, if I wasn't the first person to stand up for him and start appearing on his channel again, they do not think that they would have gone back to helping him with his content. So,
It's like the guilt, you know?
so I always tried to keep things private, always tried to make things better, had hope that things would get better, you know, tried to be supportive, and my thanks that I got for all of that was abuse and resentment, and for all of 2025, all of this year, harassment and hatred from him and his community, while he was the whole time secretly begging for me to take him back behind the scenes. I've taken a lot of steps already. As I said, it's apparent. I've taken a lot of steps to restructure my life and be a lot more careful about who I help
Isn't
and
that
who I invest
insane?
my time and my care into.
This is supposed
And
to be like
I'm
streaming
doing a lot
video
better
games.
now, but I felt like this was a necessary stream because, like I said at the very beginning, I have heard that he has done things to other people that aligned with some of my own experiences, so I felt like it would be wrong for me to keep holding on to all this information. I know I stayed for way too long, and I thought that I could help, and I unfortunately learned that I couldn't, but I worked really hard to have the life that I have now with my friends, my family, my pets, and my community, and I'm so grateful for how things are now. It was very difficult, but I'm very proud of myself for making the choices that I did to end up where I am now. And yeah, that's my story of dealing with abuse, psychological and domestic abuse, sexual assault, and stalking, and being threatened on if, you know, I ever talked about it. And this whole time, it's been kind of hidden in plain sight away from hundreds of thousands of people.
Yep.
And, yeah. I know that me saying all of this probably isn't gonna make him or what's left of his community leave me alone. But yo, sorry, voice crack. I know talking about this probably won't make him or, sorry. Probably won't make him or what remains of his community leave me alone, but, I'm at least glad that people will be aware of all of this now and I won't have to feel like I'm hiding a terrible dark secret anymore. And it's all out there now. And I also want to make it clear that not everyone that I interact with or that I'm friends with knew the extent of the things that were happening. And a lot of streamers didn't really know anything at all, but I mean, like I said before, people aren't stupid. I think it's pretty clear that a lot of people knew that things were happening, and like I said, you have to remember, it's not just me. A lot of people have told me that they have their own, you know, grievances with him.
Oh yeah.
But for the people who did know about this, thank you for being there for me through all of this and supporting me and cheering me on. And there were a lot of people as well who, even though they didn't know anything, without asking any questions, they still were very kind and supportive, and I will always remember that for the rest of my life. I also want to say, just so people know, that I'm not just trying to like put this out there and then, you know, I am already in the process of filing a restraining order on him in both Texas and California.
Thank God.
And I also wanted to say that I would not be surprised if he tries to sue me for this stream that I did today and for coming out about him.
Of course.
Not because he thinks that he would win, but for PR reasons, like a slap lawsuit. It'd be interesting if that happened, and I wouldn't be opposed to people finding out more of the truth and things that I didn't even talk about today, and what else he's been lying about. And I'm sure there's also plenty of things that even I don't know about. And
yeah,
there's more things that I didn't even talk about today, but I'm hoping that now that I have this out, this is the last time I ever have to
Discovery's
talk about it.
a bitch.
And I can be like, okay, I got it out there. I'm not withholding this anymore. It's out there. And, yeah. I guess that's, pretty much it. Definitely not
What a day.
how I would have liked to spend my Saturday.
Oh, it's Saturday. That was like Wednesday.
I would have loved to, go to karaoke with my friends. or something like that instead. All people like karaoke. Right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm probably gonna take some time off. I'm not sure. Like, I genuinely have no idea what the response to this all is gonna be like. I really just wanna, like I said, do my best to move on from this, because I've already been doing that for a year. Like I said, I feel like that's pretty clear. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for today. I asked my editor if he would put this on YouTube for if you guys want to look at, you know, any of the things that I shared today. But like I said, all of the streams that I referred to today are public. You can easily find them. And all the people that I mentioned today gave me permission to mention them. Except I think I mentioned Mr. Beast. Oops, but I mean, he's not involved.
Jimmy will be fine.
Yeah.
Jimmy's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I never thought that I would be doing this stream, so it feels really weird to have done it, and it's over now. Yeah, well, now you guys know everything, and all the things I've been holding in for the past couple years.
Damn.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully I'll be able to keep giving updates on the TwitchCon stuff, but I'm hoping to put this other chapter behind me. And like I said, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I feel very confident that this was the right thing to do, and I don't regret any of it. Thank you guys. I'm gonna go spend time with my friends, and hopefully I will see you guys all very soon. Thank you for everything.
What a day. Well,
Yep, I guess that's it. See you guys when I see you. Goodbye.
It's sad. It really is. You know, like, I don't want to elaborate on any other further things about this. I can kind of talk to the extent that I knew about it a little bit, but I don't want to kind of go and, you know, turn this into like a, you know, continuation. But I can talk about kind of what happened. I guess the first thing I can talk about is the pier, which is the thing that I got mentioned with, which is, I was starting my stream, it was the beginning of my stream. I remember I was like, I don't know, like maybe an hour into my stream or something like that. I got a call from Emaru and I was like, what the fuck? And this was like the day after the pier thing had happened. And I saw that Mizkif had gone live earlier in the day. He almost never does that. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, maybe he went live to farm viewers and talk about this, right? But then she calls me and she's crying, and Ray and Cinna and one of their managers is there too, and I'm talking to all four of them. And this is, I muted the stream, and this is why, by the way, I haven't reacted to any Miz clips in the last, like, 6 months. I haven't talked about Miz in the last 6 months. I haven't had anything to do with him, like, a year. This is the reason. And so I've scrolled past every clip, I haven't talked about anything. And so I call him the first time, and it rings like 2 or 3 times. Nothing happens. Immediately, sorry, it hangs up, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I call again, because like, you know, sometimes like, oh, it's just a random call, but like usually if somebody calls you 2 times in a row, it's like, okay, this is serious, right? And so then I call him again, and the rings were like, you know, there's like 3, and then the other one was like 7 or 8. So like I don't know this happened, right? Obviously I don't know this happened. But I think he either like, I don't even know if he had the phone, right? But I think that whoever had the phone saw the call and chose to decline it. I think that's what happened. I don't know if that's what happened. So swiped it, yeah, that's what I think. And so, but then I called him later on, and he said he's freaking out, and I explained, I was like, okay, well, this is why, and this is what happened, and this is the reason, and, you know, he's fucking you know, obviously I knew more about this than he thought that I knew with this situation, because Emmy had called me and I had to explain it to him, but like I didn't want to involve myself in this either, because like this is like, I knew she was like no contact with him, and at this point pretty much everybody in the org, at least not everybody, but a lot of people were starting to like get this vibe with him. But and this is also another thing, is that a lot of the people that have collaborated with Miz don't know anything about this. They didn't know anything about this. And it was explicitly hidden as much as possible in order to make sure that nobody knew about it in any capacity by them, because they didn't want any of this to get out at all. And so does like I don't know. I'm not gonna get into the specifics, right? Hidden by who? Well, Miz and Emmy. I mean, Emmy was afraid that if the information got out, and Miz made her afraid if the information got out, that it would negatively affect Miz in multiple ways, and so he didn't want that to happen. That's more of their interpersonal stuff, and that's what she said on stream, and so I'm not going to elaborate beyond that. There is, of course, elaboration, but there's, as I said, I'm not going to, this isn't like an encore where I'm going to like further explain why she did or didn't do something, because it's just that, as I said, I said at the beginning, right? I said it, you know, a while ago, it's like, it will be bad, and it's not my story to tell. And I think you guys can see why now. I apologize for 2 things, for vague posting about it and saying that. And I also apologize for platforming him, right? I mean, the truth is I couldn't have known, I didn't know any of this whenever I met him. Whenever we started OTK together, I had no idea. And when I did realize, you can see kind of the way that I dealt with it and everything, and it's just like in stream, like this is the reason why I fucking like when Ludwig had that clip about like 95% of streamers never got to talk to again, I was like, yeah, yes, bro, like yes, you're so right. Like, the thing that happened in 2022 was kind of like the beginning of the end for me, with like being friends with any streamers or anything like that. And I have like a very small circle now of people that I'm close with. And is it true you lies about being part of OTK? I'm not going to answer that. It really, like, and I just, I would love to answer that, but I'm not going to answer that. And also, and I think that, like, again, with that, there are people that can answer that, and those people are not me. And I will say again that this is not the end. And from things that I've heard, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know. I a lot of times I think, and it's like, if I could go back, would I undo all of it? And it's like there's a huge part of me that feels like I should have, right? I should have never done any of this at all, because it's just led to so much trauma and stress and like just fuck, man, like you can't foresee things. I mean, I live very far away from them. I was very separated from their everyday life. I didn't know any of this, and the time that I did, I did everything that I could to you know, fucking make sure that this stuff didn't get worse, right? And it's not your fault. Yeah, it and also it's really not about me. The truth of the matter is, the irony of all of this is that I've heard Mizkif has done things privately and to other people that have made me look bad, but Mizkif has never actually explicitly done anything really bad to me. Never. He's never really, like, he's made jokes maybe once or twice, but like he's actually never really done anything to me. And so, like, I don't know, like, but I would say more, right? I would say more, but I just don't really think that I don't really think that it's appropriate for me to say more and elaborate on more.